Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if you're going to sleep, good night. And welcome back to the Moonlight Hours podcast. I'm the person you're listening to. My name is Moses. Um, Thanks for joining me. As expected, um, nobody's listening to this. I, I expected it from the jump. Um, yeah. uh, I got a lot of people saying that I should start this up again when I put that post on Instagram. And I was gonna do it anyway, no matter the responses I got. But I got a lot of people saying I should. And like I said, one person, like I said in the other podcast, one person said I shouldn't. And nobody's listened to it. This time last year, well, not this time actually. It's been like a bit more. But last year when I was doing the podcast, I cared a lot about that. Now I really don't. I'm literally just vibing. I'm having the time of my life. This is my way to talk, vent, talk about what's going on in my mind, like I've been saying for the past two episodes. But yeah, sorry if I sound a bit more like heavy breathing ish. My lungs are kind of annoying today, so if you hear me like doing deep breaths and stuff, and like, yeah, yeah, and if you also obviously said in the last one, if you hear the squeaking, it's my chair. I'm planning on getting a new chair soon. um, but yeah, welcome back. If there's any noise while doing this, I'm just fixing my mic a little bit, making it elevated. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really have a plan for this. I'm not planning anything. This isn't gonna, like I said, this isn't gonna be a topic based podcast anymore. It's literally just gonna be me off the dome, speaking. Ew, what is that on my freaking keyboard? Hold on. Oh, I was eating a salad and I guess something got flicked on there. We're good now. Um, yeah. Well, I got out this weekend, which was nice. Um, really stressful day at work yesterday. A lot of people calling in, a lot of annoying people calling in. I'm probably gonna have like a podcast episode where I just talk about stories from work because I get a lot of crazy people. But after work, excuse me, in the evening, I had a birthday party to go to. Um, I didn't want to go, but I honestly had a lot more fun than I expected. It was with church people, which is weird for me now. Uh, should I get into? Yeah, I'll get into it. For those of you who don't know, I was, sort of still am, I guess, a part of a church, um, who are the, was a major part of my life for a really long time, and they're great. They I I wouldn't be the person I am today without that church, but for good reason and bad reasons. So good, I met so many people. That's why I had so much fun. I hadn't seen so many people from the church in 2 years, not only because of the pandemic, but just because like I kind of just like stopped going in the like after summer 2019. Um, so I haven't seen them in a while. A lot of them changed. I grew up too. I got taller. I got bigger. Um, and it was nice seeing them. It was nice. It was like a good sort of nostalgia. And I don't really know how to start off this. I want to talk about like my experience in that church, but like there's a lot. I feel like I can't do it justice if I don't have someone here talking with me, someone who's experienced it as well. But long story short, it's a great. How can I say it's a great church? I've met a lot of great people. That church has influenced my life in such an incredible way. Um, I'm not a part of it anymore. I guess you can say I never like officially left. I kind of just stopped going. I do still believe in God. I just don't believe in a lot of the stuff that church does. And I was kind of blinded by it for a really long time. for all my life, I had this church. I thought it was great. And deep down, I knew that a lot of the stuff they were doing wasn't cool. And I had questions all the time. I questioned things, but I was so blinded and by like the greatness and like all the friends that I was making and like the community that I had that I just kind of looked past it. And it took me moving, not having connection with that church to realize it. And yeah, it's not so good. And it's not so good. And that is honestly like I want to say more, but I want to leave it for another episode where I can like bring some of my friends on because newsflash, my friend group right now is made up of people who have left that church as well. And for good reason. Cuz they were my friends in the church. And then like we had like this group of friends, this big group of friends who I guess in a way we were like the cool outsider friends, like the cool wallflowers, I guess you could say it is what I found out from a lot of people. Um, but they they like we kind of like fell apart. There was a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I want to say that when there's more people here because there's a lot of people who have input on it, not just me. But we kind of fell apart, and the ones who like stayed together are the ones who left the church. And we laugh about it all the time because it used to be I was the one who was furthest from the church because this one of the aspects that I don't agree with is in this church, if you get baptized, you become a disciple and you're going to heaven. No matter what. You get baptized, study the Bible, yada, 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 you're good. They're very Bible based. Um, that's like I said, whole nother podcast. But and almost everybody in our friend group were disciples. They had gone baptized except for me and like two other people. And we were always in a way kind of like looked down upon. We weren't fully taken seriously in that friend group. That was a part of the reason that we kind of fell apart and regrouped into non-church folk. Um, but it ended up being because I was the least before we were a big group. Now I'm the most because I actually still believe in God. I actually, I actually still believe in my man upstairs. So I'm the token Christian boy now. So it's kind of like a lose lose because well, no, they do take me seriously. I was gonna say like they didn't take me seriously before because I wasn't. Now they're not taking me seriously now because I still do, but now they take me seriously because we have shared trauma, even though my trauma is not as intense as theirs. But oh well. But yeah, it was a great. It was a great church, honestly. Community was great, but they just had a lot of flaws, and everything has flaws. But these flaws were not flaws that I could overlook, and I don't know. It just wasn't. It wasn't clicking well with me. A lot of the stuff that they stood by. But I digress. That isn't the point of this one. Like I said, whole other episode. I've said that like 7 times. But yeah, I went to this party. I went with my older brother. It was supposed to be older brother and younger brother, but it wasn't like an adult party. And it was our neighbor's birthday party, and he invited me, my older brother, and my younger brother. My younger brother's 14. He's turning 15 in like a week and a half. What is he going to be doing there if it's just a bunch of adults? So he didn't go. He ended up going fishing with his father, which was kind of a good, I guess. But me and my brother went. We were not expecting to stay there long because neither of us really wanted to be there. But we actually had a lot more fun than we thought. It wasn't like oh yeah, party stuff going on, stuff like that. No, it was just fun seeing everybody again. And I was in a place that I spent a lot of time, like that location, that house. Like I had spent a lot of time at that house during like my high school years because that's where like church events were happening. For another aspect of the church is the teens. It's like the teens spanning from I think like 7th or 8th grade through high school, and we have a camp every year, stuff like that. Whole nother podcast to explain that. But I spent a lot of time there, and I don't know if it's because I grew, but I hadn't actually been there for more, like a lot longer, because last time I was there was my sophomore year before I moved to New Jersey. So I went back and it was kind of like a culture shock because I had grown and it looked smaller. I hadn't seen everybody in so long already, and people that got haircuts. They like had girlfriends, boyfriends. I was like, whoa. And I didn't know a lot of people there because a lot of them were like the birthday boys' friends. But I knew like half of them I didn't know, half of them I did know, and I was spending time with that half that I did and catching up with everybody. It was a really nice feeling. And I, a small, very, very small part of me was nervous that I was going to want to go back because of that, but it didn't happen at all. Like a very small part of me felt that way, but a massive part of me was like, no. And I was happy because there was a lot of things I was worried were gonna happen. I thought I was gonna, excuse me, I'm so sorry, I don't know where that came from. I thought people were gonna be, you know, being like, oh, a big thing that they ask is, how are you doing with your faith? Like, what are you supposed to say to that? Like, that's a big question. I've been asked so many times, even when I was in the church. Like, it's a big question that they ask, and like people trying to convince me to come back, inviting me out to church. Like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. We're back at so and so location. Like, no, I'm not going back. I have different views than they do. They do. We worship the same God, but my view of him is different than theirs. I feel like they're more narrow-minded due to the fact that they worship. They're supposed to be worshiping God, but they're worshiping more what God has said through the Bible, which is a book written by men. But go off. But I digress. Yeah, I went into it nervous that was gonna happen, but it ended up not happening, which was so nice. I was so happy that I didn't get one of those questions. People just asked me like, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing?" People like I got like, there was one girl. Okay, this is one. Oh, my mic fell again on me. Jesus Christ, happened last podcast too. There was one girl who so quick setup. There's different aspects of the church, different sections. Not only are there different regions, which are different like locations scattered literally all over the world, and like mainly New England, but there's different parts within the church separated by age group pretty much. So you have the youth and family ministry, which is babies up to the teens. Then you go into the campus ministry. Campus ministry is college kids, their group. And then it used to be called singles ministry, but a lot of people were getting married younger, so the next step up would be the married ones, and then the elders pretty much. And since people were getting married younger, they were still technically in the singles ministry, so they renamed it the young professionals, which is honestly kind of a title, but it is very much better because they don't have to have like a bunch of like 30, 40-year-old married couples with a fresh, newlywed 20-year-old couple. That's another aspect. I'm gonna have a whole podcast where I'm just crapping on that church. It was a good community, but a lot of flaws. Not me hating on flaws because everything has flaws, but like I said before, flaws that I could not stand by. But yeah, so when came back from Jersey, I was in the campus ministry because I was a college student for one semester, and then COVID hit, and then I left a bit more. But there was one girl in the campus ministry. She was always really nice. Everybody there was really nice, at least from my perspective. There were obviously those people who weren't, but this girl, she was asking me how I was doing. And she was like, "So how you doing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm living life. I have a great job, stuff like that." She was like, "No, how are you doing mentally?" And I was like, "Whoa." I was like, I've never ever gotten that question from anyone in this church. They don't care about how I'm doing mentally, emotionally, physically. They just want to know how I'm doing with my faith. And at this party yesterday, I was dumbfounded. I didn't know how to answer. She was like, are you doing okay mentally and stuff? I was like, I literally said, yeah, yeah, it was so weird. It was so weird, dude. It was so weird. I was so thrown off. But it was so refreshing because she's such, like I said, she's such a nice person. In my experience, she's been so nice to me. We've had great conversations in the past, and she really is just a sweetheart. And she genuinely cares about people, which is a good thing, which is refreshing in that community, because you notice a lot of people. A big part of it, it isn't really said, but it's kind of like what's what I'm looking for here? Is it insinuated? No, it's not insinuated. It's like, oh crap! I gotta freaking look it up because it's gonna be in my head the entire podcast. So is it insinuate? No, is it not insinuate? Am I just dumb? It's kind of known that they hold on, insinuate. Yeah, it is insinuate. Imply is the one I was looking for. Implied. It's implied. Insinuate was in my head, but yeah, insinuate is the word I was looking for. No, insinuate was a synonym. Implied. It's pretty much implied that their kind of way of being is really hate the sin, love the sinner. So they hate what you're doing, but love you. When in reality, you're not loving them fully if you're hating what they're doing. So, what's the point? But she genuinely loves you, no matter what. And so do a lot of people in that church, which is why I still have such a connection with it, because most of the people who are in my life, who have been in my life, are from that church, from that community. And I said it earlier, like, I would not be the person I am today without that church, like, without a shadow of a doubt. No one in my family would. Well, I feel like me and my older brother more wouldn't, because most of my brother's friends are from the church too. I don't know. I was never that guy in high school who I'm what's considered a floater. If you don't know what a floater is, it's someone who doesn't have a set friend group and who's just friends with everyone, and like is in every friend group. I was very much that in high school, and I was a little bit of that in like the church teens, but I did still have my friend group, but I was still friends with everyone. So I was still a floater. But in high school, there were so many people that I was friends with, I was friendly with, but I was never really like fully there. I didn't have those set friends. Just because like my interests didn't fully align with theirs, and it was the same thing in the church. That's why like my actual friend group, it's different. It's a different feeling. So like in high school, like I never went to a school dance, never went to parties, and big part of that did have to do with like the parties and stuff. Big part of that did have to do with like Dominican mom not letting me leave the house. But I'm honestly, I hate to say it. No, I was gonna say like I'm glad she did it, but I'm not glad she did it. I would have preferred she let me do it, like go out to parties and let me learn for myself that I don't like that, because from the beginning I didn't like that. Like my mom, like when I was a junior and senior in high school and I was living in New Jersey, my mom encouraged me to go hang out with friends and like go to parties and go to like prom and homecoming, but I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. Like I did not want. That's not a world that I was into. I love dances. I love that, but I don't know. It's more fun when I'm actually enjoying myself with the people who I genuinely care about, and I know genuinely care about me, and what's in my best like, and have my best thought in mind. As that saying, I don't know. So like church dances, I'm all for it. I'll have so much fun. Like church parties, stuff like that. It was great. But school, I don't know. A lot of people. There were a lot of people who didn't have best interest, not best thoughts, best interest in mind. That's what it is. A lot of people didn't really have my best interest in mind. I had theirs. I this is like a whole other podcast. So like, I don't want to get into this because like how I was in high school, how I was when I was like a teenager is drastically different. This entire thing is just like, yeah, listen to my next podcast where I talk about this stuff. Honestly, like my next podcast episode, I probably recorded sometime this week. Um, I'll probably talk about my teenage years because that's a whole. I I don't want to say I hated my teenage self, but Lord Almighty, I was bad, and it wasn't. It was really. I can't say all of my teenage years. I can say like middle school into like to sophomore year, because once I moved to Jersey, that's a whole different life. A little bit bled into it, a little bit bled into my like junior senior year, but not really, not as much as like before. Jesus Christ. But I digress. I'll probably talk about that next podcast. But I don't know, like friends for me, I feel like they came easy for me because I'm so friendly and I'm so welcoming, and I guess a big thing people would think I was intimidating. Like I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Dude, you look so intimidating." The first time I met you, but as soon as you opened your mouth, I felt just like I felt safe, and I'm like, "How do I look intimidating?" Because I really, I guess like yeah, I'm large, I'm bulky, but like I feel like I'm always smiling. So it was like that a lot in high school and like my teenage years, and like middle school. People just thought I was. They would see me as sort of intimidating until they met me, and it's it's weird. It's a weird feeling, because I'm like not at all. I've tried to be intimidating, it just doesn't work. Because I always have this dumb face constantly. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Friends came easy, but friends never stayed. I was very much the I was a necessary step in the betterment of a lot of people. In order for a lot of people to get better in life and to grow, I was that necessary part to help that happen. It's happened with a lot of people who I've gotten close to. Some people it ended good, kind of just went our separate ways. Other people it didn't end as well. That can be a whole other podcast. Freaking women of the past and the homies of the past. Women of the past is just, oof, Jesus. This is, I guess this is, you can call this like a what's to come, like a stick around. It's gonna get a lot juicier. But yeah, I'm gonna just freaking sound clip this. Yeah, stick around. It's gonna get a lot juicier. Jesus Christ, it's like a commercial. Just like next week on Moonlight Hours. Sounds like a freaking telenovela. No, wait. Can't be telenovela because it's not Spanish. It sounds like just a soap opera or a crappy TV show. Jesus Christ. Like a Degrassi or something. But oh well. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to talk more, but I don't really want to. Everything I want to talk about has like it can be its own episode. But yeah, I don't know if I said this last time. I don't have a set schedule. I think I did. I said it on the last one. I don't have a set schedule for this. I'm literally just gonna be posting sporadically whenever I want. This one I'm recording Sunday night. Jeez, excuse me. I'm posting it Monday. Probably going to record tomorrow night. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from. Tomorrow night as well. Mainly because I work 12 to 9 Tuesday. So I work 9 to 6 tomorrow, 12 to 9 Tuesday. So I can stay up late tomorrow night. And I also work 12 to 9 Wednesday. So I can do that too. And next weekend I took Friday and following Monday off. And then I work Tuesday and then I have Wednesday off, which is stupid. But I might just call out that Tuesday. But I don't know. Yeah. Follow me everywhere. Follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna hopefully start streaming there. Probably gonna be streaming Thursday or Friday or both. Who knows? Listen to this podcast. That's all I can tell you. I'm gonna have some friends. I already have a few people who want to come in and just join in on the fun and the Moonlight Hours podcast. Um, I have people, and I have people who have asked me, and I have people who I know will want to. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the future holds. But I digress. Thanks for listening, whoever you are. I don't know why you're listening, but go off, I guess. It's been a pleasure. Hope you enjoyed, I guess. Peace and blessings, love and happiness. Stay safe, stay happy, stay sane, stay hydrated. I love you all. Thank you for your constant support. And yeah, hope you have a good week. Hope you have a good time this week. Stay safe, stay sane, hydrated, happy. And yeah, I don't know how to end this. Have a good night, I guess. And thank you for listening to the Moonlight Hours podcast. Okay, good night. I'm gone. I'm going to bed. Good night.